Blaise Pascal was born in Auvergne in France in 1623. Along with his two sisters, Pascal was educated by his father, who worked in government and had a keen interest in the sciences. Pascal was taught to learn to look at life with a glass-half-empty mentality. At 3 years old, Pascal's mother tragically died. He was an introvert with very little friends and suffered from poor health as well as confidence issues. However, he consisted of material to be a genius. By the age of 12, he had already learned the first 32 propositions of Euclid. Pascal was also a large proponent of the theory of probability. He built his own calculator at just the age of 18, and even designed the first Parisian omnibus, and founded the world's first ever transport service, with all its profits going to the poor. However, at age 36, his health issues reared its head, and he had to retire from all of these scientific and social exploits. Pascal was a large supporter of the Catholic faith. He would later write his greatest work, a very pessimistic yet cheerful defence of Catholicism. The book was called Le Pensier. It was published posthumously in 1670. This is what many philosophers and theologians remember Pascal for today. The purpose of Pensier was for readers to convert to God and Christianity. Pascal thought that the most effective way of doing this was to call to mind everything terrible in life, everything that we suffer from, and everything that brings us misery. Afterwards, he hoped that with the reader being miserable at these revelations, they would turn to God for salvation. However, unlike back then, very few readers today follow the book as such. Pensier is split into two parts. The first part goes into depth about everything about the miseries of life, and the second part goes into the subjects about what is good about God. Pascal tells us at the start that happiness on earth is just a mere illusion, but he does emphasise how much we avoid being lonely and avoiding exploring the state of human nature. Blaise Pascal's most famous quote from the Pensier is "Tous les malheureux de l'homme viennent d'un ciel choqué de ne savoir pas demeurer in repos dans chambre." All of man's unhappiness comes from his inability to stay peaceful alone in his room. A remarkable quote from the Frenchman. Paradoxically, what makes Pascal such a pleasure to read is his pessimism and cynicism in his writings. Pascal believes that instead of considering their harsh reality, anybody will do anything to escape the prospect of doing so. He also quotes, "Truth is so obscure in these times, and falsehood so established, that unless we love the truth, we cannot know it." Pascal believed that the greatest cause of suffering from a human perspective was our pursuit of fame. As a result of the pursuit of fame and to be well known, he says this increases the likelihood of a person suffering from boredom. He says that this is the worst type of suffering because it can become intolerable. If we try to overcome different obstacles in our pursuit of fame, and we clear them all, then we are left with nothing but our own boredom as a result. Pascal's conclusion is, what is man? Nothing compared to the infinite. Pascal, whenever he can, exposes to us the view that our human nature is something which isn't good, and we are in a way deviant and corrupt. He also quotes, "How hollow and foul is the heart of man." If man fails to recognise the vanity of the world, then he himself is vain. Perhaps this reminds you of the famous quote from English political philosopher Thomas Hobbes. He felt human nature was cruel, and life was nasty, brutish, and short. Pascal thinks that the best we can do is face these uncomfortable truths head on. And with yet another excellent quote, he says, "Man's greatness comes from knowing he is wretched." It is sometimes assumed by cheering someone up You say to them, everything will be all right. This suggests that human happiness isn't a rarity, and that benefits in life are always not too far away. However, Ponsier disagrees with this view. The book, seemingly, despite demolishing the hopes of the human being with Pascal's cynicism and pessimism, but also his consoling tone, has saved so many from the depths of sadness and depression. But how does he achieve this? Because us as humans, when experiencing gloom, aren't really influenced by negativity as by hope. But it is the hope relevant to families, our futures, education, future happiness, which is the main thing to blame for our misery and sadness. Our ambitions and our human nature are incompatible, which is why disappointment is so intense. This is perhaps relevant to the quote, "It's the hope that kills you." To simplify Pascal's logic, he says, imagination is a powerful force in human beings. It can override our reason, but it can lead to either truths or falsehoods. We may seek beauty, justice, or happiness where it does not really exist. In conclusion, he says, imagination leads us astray. Pascal also poses a famous argument in his Pensées for why we ought to believe in God. This is called Pascal's wager. The reader of Pensées may object and say that if we are exposed to these miseries of human life, why should we turn to God and nothing or no one else to mend them? It must be known that this is not an argument for the existence of God, but rather why it is rational to believe in him. Pascal says that if we choose to believe in God, we have the chance for eternal salvation and to be in his kingdom forevermore. However, if we choose not to believe in God, then we could lose everything and be consigned to eternal damnation. Therefore, it is sensible to act as though God does exist. He quotes, "If you gain all. If you lose nothing." Pascal died in 1662 after suffering from poor health throughout the 1650s. Pensées was published posthumously in 1670. We should salute Pascal for his unique way of projection of pessimism. Perhaps we gain happiness from this pessimism because we are reassured that our mood, which is seemingly helpless and miserable, is immeasurable to the mood of Pascal's while he was writing this book. Pensées has been argued to be better than any self-care manual to recover from difficulties, because it provides us a way to turn to God and face life with courage, bravery, tolerance, and on the odd occasion with a sense of humour. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and if you want to see more content, then click on the video about Niccolo Machiavelli, the notorious Italian political theorist. Thank you for watching.